Hi, I'm Bryn Blaze with the Career Conversations podcast, and today I'm interviewing
Judy Drake.
Awesome. Can you tell us, in 3 to 5 words, who you were as like a high school student?
Sure. So I'm Judy Drake. I'm a human resource manager for the town of Ithaca, which is a public sector. As a high school student, I was involved, and I was probably just your average high school student.
I see. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Can you share a little bit about your professional journey from where you started from to where you are now?
So I have a bachelor's degree in business administration. Didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I liked accounting. Didn't focus in accounting. And my mom had a franchise, an ice cream store, so I helped run that for a couple of years. Did a lot of the behind the scenes business piece to it. A friend of mine called and said, we have an opening at the county mental health in administration. So I applied through civil service, and I did a temporary 1 year. I was filling for somebody's maternity leave, and that was in records billing, medical billing, and then administration, payroll, and accounts payable, accounts receivable. And then I was there for 3 years. An opening came at the town of Ithaca in a human resources payroll function. So I applied for that and have been there for 28 and a half years, doing HR, payroll, the whole gamut of HR.
So that's really cool.
Yeah. Sometimes you definitely fall into a job.
Yeah. I've talked to a couple people, and that's what they've said. Like, I just fell into it. It was on a different trajectory, but
never did I think I would go into HR, payroll maybe, but not just the full HR.
Yeah. That's cool. That's really cool. So you mentioned you have a bachelor's. Is there any other certifications to be in your role?
There's an organization called the Society for Human Resource Management. So it's an international organization, and they do certification. So I do have what's called the Professional of Human Resources certification. And they give you a lot of background education and pieces to it and stuff. So, yeah.
Okay. Would you recommend, so for those listening who maybe don't want to go into college, do you think in this career field it would benefit to have a college degree?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because there's so much to know on the business side of HR. There's a lot of laws, and there's a lot of needing to write some legal legal policies. You work a great deal with attorneys, so doing what you can before you have to reach an attorney is important. Also with the payroll side, because I do the payroll side, there's that accounting side to it that's pretty important. But you can certainly come in at an entry level and move up through the program where you're doing more the transactional basis, putting people on insurance, taking them off insurance, working in the payroll aspect of things. But to move up to kind of my level of an HR manager thing, they're going to look for at least an associate's degree in some kind of business aspect of things. But there's some things that you could do with a high school diploma with some experience.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Could you describe a typical day at your job?
A lot of meetings.
Okay.
Some of them formal within the organization, and then I meet with employees, on a one-on-one basis. Maybe it could be simple things as like career counseling, somebody who's new to the organization and we want to see where they can go. It obviously can be, you do a lot of psychology in human resources. So some of it's helping them through processes, but definitely a lot of meetings. And then the days that I'm running payroll, it's in front of a screen data entry, running numbers and stuff. But that's, not the whole week.
Yeah, that must be nice. Must be nice.
Yeah, and then I'm involved in a lot of outside organizations within the county area. So I attend a lot of meetings that way.
Okay. Okay. How does your work benefit the community?
Well, I'm public sector, so the people that I'm working with are public sector employees that are doing work. They might be, plowing your roads. Yeah. They might be a code enforcement officer, so they're making sure your house is getting built to the standards that it needs to be. A town clerk does your marriage license and you registers your dog. So I'm working with people that do that community service. They're really there to provide that community service, and making sure that I think your living environment is where you would like it to be. We have a lot of people who deal with planning, which is your land use planning aspect of things, codes and zoning enforcement and such. So everything that we do in the organization is tied to the community. And that's honestly the best part of it. Yeah. That's what I like. So
that's cool. Going along with that, how do public sector jobs collaborate with the community or other agencies?
Well, we do a lot. So we provide a lot of services in our organization. It could be recreation programs. So your small fry football, your baseball leagues and that are helping students and youth in that recreation and preparing them for school rec programs. It also sometimes the public sector also are serving ways that we really don't want them. Yeah. We have a court system. Yeah. So if you get a speeding ticket, you're going to come to the town and you're going to go see a judge. So there's definitely some aspects that public sector has to do jobs that people don't want. Like they don't want.
Yeah.
They don't want a ticket. They don't want a code officer to say, no, you can't, build your house that way. Yeah. So there's good aspects like the highway department that gets to plow the roads and keep things beautiful and have beautiful parks and the rec programs that get to, make it fun and have music in the park kind of thing. Yeah. But then there's also departments that, have more of an enforcement piece to it.
All right. What qualities would help someone in your position?
So in HR, I'll talk about HR. Yeah. I think you have to have some empathy. You're dealing, like I said, there is some psychology piece to it. So you are dealing with people's lives. Yeah. You're, on the good side, you're helping them get a job. You're helping them get promoted within their job. You may be helping them get health insurance or vacation time or whatever. But there's also times where you may have to fire somebody. There's disciplinary stuff and you have to keep the human side to it. And you have to be able to listen and be willing to look at the whole picture of things. It definitely is a piece where you have to have not just this person, what this person says, you have to know the whole story and digging into it. So that's an important piece of remembering. And then just really knowing the business. What is your business? How do the human capital piece affect your business? Good employees produce good things. Yes. Unhappy employees don't produce good things. Yeah. If you want to have, your customers served well, our customers don't necessarily always want to be our customers. Yeah. So, but they still need to be served as a customer. So that's an important piece. As it comes to public sector, I would say you have to be a person who just wants to help. Yeah. I did some some work with our department heads, and we were going around the room, and it's like, what do you love about your job? And absolutely every single one of us we like the aspect that we make things better for our residents, and we get to help them. We can answer questions for them. We can help them through a process. So you definitely have to want to serve, because you don't get rich in the public sector. It really, you're giving up sometimes income for maybe some other benefits. Yeah, we get holidays off, but it's really because you want to give back. It is really completely tied to community.
That's really nice. And so you're in what position?
Human resource manager.
Okay. There's higher rankings, right? Like, how would one climb that ladder?
So in our organization, it's pretty flat. I only have 100 employees, so very flat compared to a large corporation kind of thing that would have lots of. In our organization, there's basically 2 levels. I have been an HR specialist, an HR assistant that helps with some of the day-to-day task organizing, doing certain programs, and then my position that's more the decision maker.
I see.
For the organization. But in HR is kind of tied to how many employees you have.
Yeah.
So there's usually some kind of equation of one HR person to so many employees. So
I see
that we tend to be sometimes what we call is I'm a sole HR person, meaning we have nobody besides ourselves to do everything. So that's why organizations like SHRM, SHRM is nice, because you can meet up with other people who do HR as a profession and bounce something off from them.
Yeah.
So
okay. What advice would you give to students or young adults now wanting to go into this specific job field?
I would say look at the whole piece to it. So on the HR side, I would say that there's a lot of different pieces of HR that you can go into.
Yeah.
You have payroll, you have benefits, you have employee relations and labor relations. There's international HR pieces. There's lots of different nooks in HR. So it's looking to see what makes the most amount of sense for you. What do you like? And kind of researching those and unfortunately, sometimes you're just going to fall into like, this is what fits me well.
Yeah.
On the public sector piece, I would say there's lots of opportunities out there that people don't think of.
Yeah.
Nobody comes out of high school and says, ooh, I want to be a wastewater treatment operator. Or I want to, be a water treatment plant operator. That's not something that people typically think of as a career when they're coming out of college. They're like, I'm going to go into the trades or I'm going to go to college and be, a doctor or whatever. Yeah. So it's not something that people think of, but there is a huge amount of opportunities there in the public sector from everything like what I was talking about, wastewater, highway, water treatment, to working with the jails and corrections and probation officers and youth development folks. So there's a huge opportunity that people don't always think about.
Yeah.
And they're stumbling blocks to public sector. There's a system called civil service, and people are afraid of it and don't really know how to manage it. So that's something that can be a stumbling block of why people don't think about it, but it's gonna get better.
Yeah. So. I hope so. What would you consider to be most rewarding? I know you mentioned something earlier, but also challenging about your job.
I think the rewarding part is actually taking, doing the interviewing and selection and then bringing a person on.
Yeah.
And then watching them grow.
That's cool.
Within the organization. I've had people have come in very entry-level positions, and become the plant manager or become a general manager.
Yeah.
And sometimes over a long period of time, sometimes over a short. And it's helping, being a part of their professional growth.
Yeah.
And being willing to kind of help. So that's always the most rewarding. And people, they do thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for being supportive and stuff. The most challenging, it goes right along with that.
Yeah.
Right now, it's recruitment and retaining people. Just because that's a little bit different world after COVID right now, and the shortage of people for different jobs. So that is definitely the challenging part. You're trying to sometimes find a needle in a haystack.
Yes.
So that's other than that would, I mean, right now that's really my biggest challenge. So.
And what would you say the job security is for one who would want to go in here?
Well, typically people think the public sector is pretty job secure.
Okay.
We don't typically lay off.
Yeah.
So that's a nice part. Of course, economics kind of play into that, but so typically there's that piece of security. The other piece, I guess I would say, is more tied to how much do you like the job?
Yeah.
And the opportunity to move around. There's and people don't really think about it, but in public sector you have your SUNY school programs, your schools here.
Yeah.
There's jobs here, and being able to work with kids all the way up. So
yeah,
it's definitely a piece of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have just one more question for you. Do you have any not academic sources that you use to help you in your profession? This could be like books, audios.
Yeah, there's definitely the affiliation with the Society for Human Resource Management. That's a huge piece because there's blogs, there's webinars, there's conferences, a lot of conferences.
Okay.
And having different connections through that. And then obviously with my role on the public sector, we have an organization that's called the Association of Towns in New York State. So we can get together with other towns and share ideas and such. So there's definitely tons and tons of books. Yeah. And webinars and all that kind of stuff. So and that's really important because that continued education is huge. And there's things called forums where you can post questions and people give you questions back or answers back, or hey, I need a policy on this, can shoot me a policy so that you can look it over. It's always easier to start with some words on the paper than it is to put words on a paper. Yep, so
of course.
Yeah. So definitely you have to keep yourself fresh.
Okay. Is it like a tight-knit community, like public sector jobs?
They can be, but there's actually so many of them.
Okay. Yeah.
I work downtown Ithaca. My office is downtown Ithaca. Yeah. Within 2 blocks of my office, you have all of the county offices and you have the city offices. Yeah. So even though we may be doing some of the same jobs, we don't necessarily communicate with each other. Okay. But on the opposite side, some of the highway departments are going out and working collectively. We will send a truck driver to the town of Newfield because they're doing a big project, paving project, but they don't need more staff all the time. Okay. So there is a nice intermunicipal cooperation piece that happens with, especially a lot of the highway departments and public works departments and stuff, because they really do want to help each other out because none of us can afford all the equipment that we need and all of the people that we need. So there's a lot of cooperation and organization between different townships, counties, villages. So.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure to have you. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, I just want to encourage people to, really look outside the box for careers. It's really, there's so many avenues of jobs out there.
Yeah.
And it's find what makes you happy. That's my biggest key thing is if you're not happy in the job, then find the job that's going to make you happy.
Yeah.
Because if you're in a job that you're not happy, you're not doing the best you.
No.
So that definitely is find the role or the niche that makes you happy.
Thank you again. This will conclude the career conversation for today.